Why do people refer to wars, invasions, coups, etc. as illegal? Is there such thing as a legal invasion? International law has all sorts of treaties and rules on warfare. The flip side is international law doesn't really exist. The only real rule of international law is might makes right. If you have nuclear weapons, nobody is really going to tell you no. There are legal wars, but they must meet certain criteria. 1. There must be official declaration of war. 2. Reason for war must be justified, and reasons cannot be for sake of interests of small clique, but rather must have whole nation benefiting reasons. 3. You cannot start a war unless you have made security plan for your own citizens. They are not allowed to suffer unjustified amounts. 4. War is last resort when all other ways of diplomacy have failed. These are not written in any single law book, but are rather gathered from Geneva, UN war rules and Hague Convention rules. Problem is that every country can quite one-sidedly claim how their attack was justified and was obeying all these fair war rules. Since the 1940, a rule-based order has been organized through organizations and treaties, attempting to create order between states instead of anarchy. This rule-based order or international system defines things as either legal or illegal, using for example the UN Charter. Edit. To keep the answer simple, I did not include the post-WW1 attempts to organize some countries, which mostly failed since it didn't hinder WW2 or the prelude to it. It's just made up shit we do. Just like the rules of war. As in if we're killing each other we gotta do it the proper way lol. It's all bullshit. Illusions really. Just playing pretend. Compare D-Day to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Yes, there is an idea to have just worsts:*n.wikipedia.org wiki just worthiety. Yes, a legal invasion exists when the winning nation proclaims it. What are the laws of war? International humanitarian law known as the laws of war establishes what can and cannot be done by parties to an armed conflict. These laws seek to minimize human suffering and protect civilians as well as combatants who are no longer taking part in hostilities, such as prisoners of war. HTTPS. Look up the concept of jus bellum. Some people like to pose their moral judgments on wars and will claim a war is illegal because they think it's unfair. But the truth is it's only illegal if there's some international law that limits it. So if a country is not bound by those laws and they never agreed to them, then it's not illegal. As long as you win, everything was legal. D-Day totally legit. If the US does it, it's legal. Something like that. I will make it legal. Palpatine. Different countries have different laws. They can just declare something legal under their laws and do it. If nobody can stop them, they just do it and often get away with it. Calling something illegal is simply a way of pushing a narrative. That doesn't mean that it's morally or factually wrong to do so. But it simply serves a purpose to instill a certain way of thinking in the target audience. Illegal means bad, so if you repeat it often enough, they will remember that this country is bad. And if we want to push a different narrative, if we want to associate the country with something good, we pick different words. It's not an invasion, it's an intervention. It's not a coup, it's a revolution. It's not a war, it's a special military operation. You can notice it in other wording too. If we like a country, we might refer to their government. If we don't, it's a regime. If we like them, they are soldiers. If we don't, they can be militants or something along those lines. I got a bit away from the main question, so to reiterate my answer. The reason you keep hearing the word illegal in this context where it seems unnecessary is because the people saying it want to remind you those people are bad and we need you to dislike them. Your casus belli was the term the ancients used. It meant cause for war. It could be for any reason you're reclaiming your rightful land, etc. But if you didn't have a valid one, the people didn't support you. But legality is just opinion on paper. It doesn't matter if you can't back up the law or action through strength. Illegal in the context of Russia refers mainly to the war crimes, which are illegal. Whether or not it's a war or a special military operation and the legality of one over the other is a different story. What makes this illegal are the war crimes and genocide. How I long for the day when one noble needed a valid casus belli to go to war with another. Accounting is just accounting, the longer you stare at it. Depends if they are an ally or not, or if it's your own country doing the invading.